In this video, I'm going to be playing through Action 52 for the NES and Sega Genesis while giving you soft, relaxing commentary with rain sounds to hopefully help you relax and sleep tonight. Let's get into this questionable game. I actually don't hate Action 52 as much as some people do, but I know it's a very popular Angry Video Game Nerd episode, so I kind of just want to play through it again and see if it really was that bad. Honestly, Fire Breather, there's really not much to say, but if you would like to see the rest of this video and you're watching the shorts version, click the bottom of your screen where you'll find a link to the full video below. All right, let's get through this. So Fire Breather, it's not a terrible idea. It's a two-player game, and basically you'll just fly around and just shoot at each other, but yeah, it needed more time in the oven, basically. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the main menu because there's nothing to really show there. Let's get into Star Evil, which we know is going to start with a block in front of us. So we're going to make sure we hit right before we actually get into that. I remember seeing the nerd's face when he saw that block kill him instantly, like his mouth was just like dropped. He was so shocked that this game would cheat him like that, and it was just hilarious, honestly. But, you know, otherwise it doesn't play terribly. A lot of Action 52 is just kind of, you know, very low effort, half-baked, you know, stuff that would have been okay for maybe the Atari, but nowadays, not so much. It definitely is a buggy mess, though, but you got to think about the context of what this game was made from. It was made by, I think, 2 or 3 people that actually had no experience coding games at all. And it was like this con artist guy that basically was like, hey, you know, let's make a game, like a multi-pack game. And they're like, all right. And he basically wasn't involved at all to help them. So there's game over for Star Evil, but we can't get past the first level anyway because the final boss, well, the boss doesn't show up, but he looks kind of like a pink birthday cake with candles on top. It's kind of weird. Let's get into Illuminator. So this is the one where you have to basically shoot the vampires, and yeah, and the lights keep going out. Can I jump? Can you jump in this game? Yeah, you can. It's that same sort of weird thing where you have to hit the B button and then you gotta press forward. So it's like you gotta jump, then press forward. It's a bit strange for sure. But let's go and get up here, knock out this vampire. But I don't think, honestly, this game would be all that terrible if you were like, you know, for a pack-in game, if it wasn't $200, if it was more like, you know, a $60 collection of, you know, demos or whatever, I don't think people would complain much. But it was a $200 full-feature product with ads and people trying to say it was gonna be like the next big thing, and you know, obviously it wasn't. Well, it did become a big thing, but for the wrong reasons. So let's keep going through this a bit, and when we get a game over, we'll just move to the next video, next section, because there's really nothing to see here except for what we're doing now. Oh, okay, so there's a little bit. There's a guy that's pitch black that's doing something very questionable with, yeah, very questionable with something that looks like a hook. I'm not even going to try to speculate on what that is, but I think that's more terrifying than anything. Look at him. He's just kind of dancing with his hook. Let's just call it dancing. This isn't terrible, you know. It's definitely simple, but so were a lot of NES games. But the guy at the bottom is having a little too much fun, isn't he? I feel like the AVGM might have sped through a lot of it trying to, you know, just get the video done because there's so much to actually cover. But in this video, we're going to cover them all because I got 12 hours. I can play through as much or as little as I want of these games, you know? And I'm not going to do 12 hours of this, obviously, but I'm going to at least give each game a really, you know, a good hard try. Harder than that guy is with that hook that he is enjoying a little too much. All right, let's go to G-Force and see what this is. So you're a pink whale, like a pink whale kind of that shoots pink or purple BBs at broccoli. And you're flying in space trying to not run into barbed wire at the top of the screen. You can have broccoli run into you and it doesn't hurt you at all for some reason. You can just sit here and just go. Just hold down the button and, you know, the turbo button, and just wait. So there's not really much to see here. There's level 2. So now everything's pink. With the barbed wires gone, it's pink and kind of blocky. It looks sort of like an old CGA PC game, like the, you know, those Mega Man DOS ports. You're lucky you can't hear the soundtrack right now because it is pretty rough. Might make you a little queasy if you heard it, which is not helpful for sleep. Game over for that. Let's move on to Ooze, which is the only one with the title screen, if I remember correctly. This is the one that they really had faith in. And it wouldn't be that terrible of a game if the jumping was not a problem. You know, I've always kind of wondered if someone was, you know, well, they actually tried to remake this game, believe it or not. Somebody, I don't know if it was the original guy or not, but there was a Kickstarter at one point to try to remaster or do something where like they were going to bring back Action 52 like part 3 or something. I don't know. Maybe it was going to be like the Super Nintendo version that they were going to do. Game was definitely not easy, I'll tell you that. But the jumping is bad, but you can kind of, you know, get your way around it. It's not a death sentence. It's more like just an annoyance than anything. I doubt there's much of an ending, if anything. Okay, so you can't beat the little puddle that jumps at you. And for some reason, that pickle decided that it wasn't gonna die to a bullet. All right. Now it did. Very strange. Up. Fell in the pit. Knew I had to cover Action 52 at some point. I was thinking about covering some nerd games, you know, stuff that he really hated because, you know, why not? It's a retro game. He covered it. People probably search for it. People probably want to see if someone can actually just play through it and not hate its guts. And I don't hate it. It's not, if I paid $200 for it, I would hate it, but I didn't. And I will gladly say that I did not purchase this game off eBay either. This is one of the few times that I actually don't have the cartridge for it, and I'm proud of saying that. And I doubt Nintendo is really going to have, you know, hurt feelings over me not having this extremely rare, extremely expensive cartridge that's of one of the worst games ever, according to many people online. That's going to hurt their feelings. The Genesis version is actually not that bad, though. Like, it has some okay games on it. One of my personal favorites, I actually found out it was actually stolen. Well, let's not even say inspired. We'll say stolen from a Macintosh game called Diamonds. And like when I say stolen, I mean literally the exact same assets. Like there's like you see that and you're like, yeah, that's that game, you know? Yeah, that's definitely bonkers. Like, you know, there's no question in your mind about that. All right, I can't get past this dude. Like, you can't jump over him, and he shows up too late. There's a way to do it. Whoops. I said, I don't hate the game. If I paid 200 for it, I probably would. But I didn't. Yeah, by the time he shows up, it's like, yeah, you're too far away from. Well, I'm gonna give it a good old college try to jump over this thing. I made it. It was difficult because of that. See, I'll show you exactly what I mean. So when you jump straight up. And you know, in like Mario, where you jump, like you can jump and hit at the same time, and that's how Mario jumps, right? Where you're holding down the button and Mario jumps. Well, if you hold down what would be my Y button or your A button, your B button, he locks in place and won't move. But if you jump, you have to jump and press forward after you jump. So you go up and then you push forward. I feel like if they fixed that one stupid issue, which does come up in later games, I don't know why maybe they just couldn't figure out how to get the two controls to cooperate. Does this level ever end? It's definitely not Minecraft, so it has to at some point. Even Minecraft ends at some point. It's a really long time before it does. I remember watching Armic 21, rest in peace, my friend. Well, not my friend, I never met him. Rest in peace, brother. Well, that's even worse. Rest in peace, sir. How about that? He was actually a cop. Did you know that? He was actually a police officer in New York. That was crazy, man. I loved Armic. He was one of my favorites back in the day. I never met him, though. I met a couple of YouTubers that were, quote unquote big deals back then when 14,000 subscribers meant that you were like the king of gaming kind of thing. I met a couple of them here and there. And they definitely knew that they were the king of gaming. I'll say that for a lot of them. I think I might have met Big Al once in a Skype call, and I always liked Al. Well, that kills you if you. I think Al is still around. I don't know what he's doing now. He's doing some type of. I think he's still doing rants or something. I can't remember. I always liked Al though. Al always seemed like a chill dude. I hope that he hasn't become some type of ridiculous lol cow. I think didn't he have something to do with that Chibi guy that I really would prefer if you would be quiet. That guy. Like he was like friends with them or something, and that's really it. I don't think it wasn't like Al was in a relationship with him or anything crazy like that, but Chibi's his own problem. He's let's say it this way. He is a child enthusiast from what I've heard, and he's also thinks he's transgender and a Vaporeon from Pokemon, I think. So he's definitely something. And I think Caveman also became a woman at some point. That's what I've heard, but I've also heard that's a joke and he disappeared from the internet. So I don't know if he transitioned or not. That's a weird group, man. That's a lot of weirdness going on over there. Nothing wrong with the trans thing, but it's like, when you start if you're trans, it's fine with me. I don't have a problem with it. But when you start thinking you're a Pokemon, freaking Chris Chan thinks he's a goddess from an anime and also a Pokemon and all this other weirdness, like where you start thinking that you're a fictional animal, you start thinking you're a Vaporeon or a Pikachu. Just, if you're human and you think you're something else, or you are, different in a way, I'm here for you. I appreciate you, and I have no issue with you. But once you start thinking you're a Pokemon, I'm going to say, look, brother, you might need to calm it down a little bit. Yeah, that's a little much. You're getting into a little bit of, craziness there. But if you're gay, bi, trans, LGBT, this channel has always been 100% supportive of all that, and most of my co-hosts were actually part of the LGBT or became. A lot of them actually came out as transgender. I didn't even plan it that way. They just showed up and they were good, talented, and I just kept them around. They just happened to be that, and I never thought about it. You know, this is before it became more of a hot button issue with politics, but we don't go into politics on this. But yeah, I'm with you on that. You know, if you're that way, that's fine. Doesn't bother me. You know, you are what you are, but you're not a Pokemon. I'll draw the line there. You are not a Pokemon. You are not a Pikachu. You might be a Mr. Mime, but you're not a Pikachu. So this channel is definitely not on the quote unquote woke side, which I think is kind of stupid. The whole thing with that, but it's, I'll say I'm accepting, but I'm not someone that gets into the thick of all that stuff that goes on over there. Man, I tolerate it, I respect it, but I just don't get into it. I stay out of it. It's not my fight, so. I mean, I'm a regular cis heterosexual, you know, big old redneck from Virginia. So, you know, that's what I am. And if you're something else than that, that's fine. Whatever. Do whatever you want, bro. As long as you ain't hurting nobody else, tight. As long as you ain't a Pikachu, then I'm going to say, look, what, just bruh. That's the line. You got to draw a line somewhere. Being a Pikachu is a line. Now, if you're a little kid and think you're a Pikachu, that's fine, bro. I don't care. You know, you think you're a Charizard and you're like 11. Who cares? I don't know. Is 11 too old to think you're a Charizard? I don't know. I don't know any 11-year-olds to actually tell you how mature they are. Honestly, I don't know anybody under 18 at this point. I don't think. All my nephews are grown, and when they were little kids, I didn't really pay them much mind because they were, you know, they were troublesome. I'll say it that way. And their parents were not helping the situation at all. But yeah, I got bigger things to worry about than, you know, what somebody votes for or what somebody thinks they are, you know, how they identify. I just, you know, if someone's like, well, I'm this, that, or the other, all right, brother, you know, go with God, or go, all right, sister, go with God. That's good. You know, happy for you, and just let it go. I got stuff going on of my own that I'm more focused on. You can't kill that blue one. Okay. So you got to jump over him. Yeah. So I don't get political on the channel because it ain't my place. I'm here to help you sleep, not tell you who's gonna save the world. You know, I don't think any of them are gonna save the world, to be honest. And this saving the world, I don't think I'm gonna be able to beat this game. This is really hard, actually. This would not be that bad if the controls were better. Even with save states, this is incredibly difficult. It's all because of that stupid jump. See what I mean? It's that stupid jump to just, and the enemies are kind of random. Like, I don't even know if they have a pattern. I doubt that. Then they just spam stuff at you like, please don't beat this game. It doesn't work. It just crashes the game, bro. Don't play anymore. Oh, I can kill those. Then why did I shoot right through it before? Dude, these water puddles are really annoying. The way I see it is, if you don't like a certain group of people, just leave them alone. Don't bother them. Just leave them alone. Ignore them. You know, just stop. Unless they're criminals that are doing something that hurts other folks. If they're just living their life, just leave them alone. If they're annoying, just avoid them. You don't need to go out there and preach your gospel about how everybody that's not like you is a terrible human being. I've dealt with that enough here. You know, it's sort of like those, you got the, what I call fire breathing Christians that like will be like, oh, you know, everybody that doesn't listen to my particular pastor is going to the bad place that I can't say on YouTube. It's like, really? You know, we have to listen to this one guy. And if you happen to have not heard of him or never heard him, you're going to the bad place. Really? You know, what if I don't speak English? What if I have no access to the internet because I live in like a freaking mud hut in the middle of the Amazon or something? Or whatever whatever they live in out there. Up. It didn't work. That you've seen anyone get this far in Ooze. I've been wondering what was beyond the first stage, honestly. Oh. Come on, bro. You gotta get you. There we go. All right. Come on, buddy. Work with me here. There you go. There you go. Wow, that's gonna be undodgeable, I think. Unless we go right here. And do that. They really get cheap with the later levels. Really trying to make you not get to the end. Well, we know that thing's probably just going to go to a black screen and nothing's going to happen, but I do want to see this entire game because it is the game, besides Cheetahman, of course, which I think pretty much ends on a black screen as well, so don't have much hope for this game to have an ending of any kind or a final boss or anything, you know, worthy of note. But I always kind of wonder what was the, you know, the final thing like. And I've seen the end of Ooze for the Sega Genesis, and I'm pretty sure it's just the same thing, like a nothing. No real ending, no final boss. But I think Ooze on the Sega Genesis isn't it's not good, but it's also not terrible. It's fine, you know. If you need something to distract your kid or yourself, you know, during like a long trip, if you're riding with somebody and, you know, that's all you got. It's not like you're gonna, you know, count the lane, you know, count the lines in the pavement, you know, versus play that, you know. You just force yourself to play the, you know, not very fun game. Well, back then, you know, of course we got cell phones now. We don't, you know, no one really plays the handheld stuff anymore unless it's a Switch. I don't think. Well, that was a nice cheap shot there. I don't expect any less from this game. Does this game ever end? I'm just saying, you know, this has been a while. I've come a great distance. It looks like the level just kind of loops and just never ends. I mean, it's the same thing over and over. Oh, there's level 5. So there is a level 5. Okay. So it's going to be more ridiculous than the others. The level 5 is an ice level. Come on, baby. Gotta get through this because I want to see the ending. I want to see all the levels. I'm sure there's someone out there that speed runs this thing that could just look it up, but I want to do it myself. I want to be able to say, I beat Ooze on Action 52, you know? Nobody will care. but I'll care. Speaking of which, I think that's a game. Nope, no game over. I thought a save stated right on a death where it'll be impossible to come back from that. Once you play it for a while, you actually kind of get used to the terrible controls. And really the main problem becomes the cheap enemy placement and how fast they are. Like that guy, like for some reason my bullets went right through him. See what I mean? You can't duck either, by the way. And the bullets work when they feel like it. That's my answer to that. They work when they feel like it. Did I just die by touching the air? As I think the nerd said that, didn't he? Like you gotta inch yourself forward to make sure you don't get wrecked by whatever is, gonna jump out of the darkness at you. Like this dude is coming way too fast for anyone to be able to dodge. There it is. Oh. Don't die. There's 5 levels. I mean, I'm surprised it's more than 3 or 4. Come on. Come on. Come on. By the way, you can't move and shoot at the same time. And the bullets work when they feel like it, as you can see. If someone ever watches this, they're probably like surprised that anyone ever got this far. And level 6? There's another level of this? Okay, so we have a bunch of bubbles that I have to jump on, some precise platforming. And at the bottom, there's a bunch of green spikes, I guess. I don't know what to call that. It looks like a bunch of little sandcastles, kind of. I don't know. I'm sure this thing was held together by clip art and duct tape, really, so. Okay, what killed me there? I'm kind of shocked that they expect precise platforming in this, but also, especially when you have fall damage like that. There we go. If I touch the top up, yep, that's what I thought. I gotta find out how many levels is this thing. Let's see how many levels in Ooze for Action 52 NES. Six levels. Yes, that's 6 levels. We're on level 6, which is definitely the biggest problem so far. And it's just a matter of being able to. It keeps slipping off. If I hit the top, I die immediately. I'm starting to wonder if it's even possible to get past this spot. Even with save states, it's like, you know, feels impossible. For some reason, some pickles shoot and some they just shoot whenever they feel like it, I guess. If they just, I don't know what makes them shoot and what makes them not shoot, so sure, why not? Bro, this game is so hard. What? I don't understand what kills me. Well, the bullet there, but I can't get up there to shoot him back. You know, I can't, if I try to jump across, it's going to kill me just from the fall damage, you know? Ugh. I don't understand I don't understand. And, you know, this honestly isn't one of those get good games. I mean, if this is Mario and you know, you could obviously get me for that like bad skill, but I'm talking about this, you know, it's like it's like, how am I supposed to, like that, I guess. Look, if this doesn't warrant a subscribe, I don't know what does. I'm tapping out on this one. I'm gonna look up to see. I'm gonna watch quick. Come on, computer's acting dumb. Action 52 Ooze speed run. Someone said this must have done it. Ooze. Okay, someone did do it. All right, I'm not gonna show the footage because I don't want to take any credit from them. But good God, well that's a task anyway. That's a tool assisted speed run. So he's literally just bouncing off of like the air, like. But I just want to see what the ending is. So it's basically the same exact thing we're looking at right now, over and over, forever. And then, what's the ending? Let's see the ending. Is there an ending, or is it just a black screen? Congratulations, you may have just won. Take a photograph of the screen and send the address listed in the rules and regulations, your personal code, and then a bunch of letters, and that's it. So, yeah. Apparently there was some type of competition, and by the way, nobody won. I'm pretty sure that competition never paid out. So, literally, that's all you get is a congratulations. You know, send your code to this address, and we'll give you nothing. All right, let's get into Silver Sword. You're locked down to a grid where you can only go left, right, up, down, and I guess you just keep walking until screen stops. You just keep shooting and shooting and shooting, and that's it. It's kind of like a vertical PD shooter, like, something good like 1942. But I'm pretty sure almost all the games just don't have endings. They just, go to a black screen or say, the end or something. And look how much time they put into actually programming the thing. I mean, like, the enemies have no rhyme or reason. They just kind of, fly around and they don't follow you, and they just kind of shoot all over the place. All right, let's move on to critical bypass. All right, so this is just a really arable. This one actually controls worse than the other ones. Holy crap, it is way too sensitive. The D-pad is way too sensitive on this one. And I kind of can't figure out the shot. So if you pull right, if you pull left, I'm not explaining it well. If you push the right direction on your D-pad, you shoot forward. If you push left, you shoot backwards. But that's the problem, is you're trying to back up and shoot something in front of you, which you can't do, because then you would have to press forward, and like, you can see how fast this thing is moving with the barely touching the D-pad. So sure, why not? There you go. We already did Silver Sword. Jupiter Scope. All right, so this is the missile command looking thing where you're basically shooting at flaming rubbers, I'll call them. And you're just like, it looks like you're the head of someone's thing and you're shooting at rubbers. That's literally what this looks like. And of course, the moon and Saturn are the same size because they're really close together. I think the nerd was on to something where he basically said the reason they did all the space games was because it's such an easy background to do. Just, take a bunch of, take a black, piece of paper and then dot, dot, dot all over it and call it stars, So this it's just wait for the rubbers to fall out of the sky. That's what they look like. It looks like flaming rubbers. I don't know. Look at it. What does that look like to you? It looks like that, or it looks like a really angry face with fire for hair, but no, that looks like a rubber. It looks like a rubber. It even has a little ring on the bottom. So you just kind of wait for the stuff to come down and then you shoot it, and that's it. This is all you do. I literally just speeded up the game and nothing happened, so move on. Whoops, I did not mean to hit that button. Alfredo, I don't know if it's going to work, but it didn't work for the nerd, so I don't expect it to work for me. Okay, it works for me. Maybe it was his cartridge that was screwed up, but your dude in his pajamas, or maybe a chef's outfit, and there's food, like noodles that are coming up, and that's also not Alfredo, by the way. That looks like macaroni noodles, not Alfredo. I think, is Alfredo the sauce or is it the noodle? Either way, this is macaroni. You don't use that for chicken Alfredo. You use a different type of pasta, like angel hair pasta usually. Anyway. I haven't had it. Well, no, when I had chicken Alfredo, I don't even think, I guess, let me look it up. I'm going to sound dumb, but all right, Alfredo. I'm pretty sure that's chicken Alfredo. It's linguine. Okay, so you do put noodles in there along with the chicken, and they're all using fettuccine Alfredo. Okay, so Alfredo was the sauce. All right. Anyway. All right. So puke green background. A one of those Land Rover things that go on like Mars or whatever, and apparently we're on a green planet that doesn't exist, with a lot of glitchy up and down, and very, very, very sloppy controls. And I keep dying on the exact same spot. Oh well. All right, so this is we'll just call it Busters, because the first word, even though it's not the bad word, it sounds like the bad word, and YouTube won't like it. So we'll just say Beaver Busters. Beaver Busters. That sounds even worse. Well, you're playing a beaver or a bear. I guess it's a bear that's shooting at panda bears. What? And sometimes pink things and like green beavers that throw tomatoes at you. I mean, like literally, you gotta remember the people that programmed this were not, they were just employees of this really shady guy that nobody can find. So like, Dude Man was trying to rip people off. It wasn't their fault. They even got interviewed and they're like, yeah, like Dude Man was like never around, and like he just basically like threw money at us and said, yeah, just, it wasn't even that much. I think they got paid like $2 or $3 grand to make this entire cartridge. I don't know who made the Genesis version. Is that it? No? Okay. We got pink. What would you call that even? I don't know what you would call that enemy. If you scroll too far that way, you'll get soft locked, so don't do it. Whatever. It's fine. Thrusters. Another space shooter where you are two strange, like, Star Fox wings, like, crammed together for some reason. And there's no enemies, so yeah. Fine. Haunted Hill. Actually, so a woman or a man with a huge chest that gets eaten by a skeleton. All right. I said I was going to give these an honest try, and I will. I'll give them an honest try. There's a ghost right here that's at a strange angle that's very difficult to do. Is the jumping the same way? No. No, the jump. Does the jumping work in this game? Why didn't it work in Ooze? It works in this game. It's not. It's very floaty and very stiff, but it controls like it should. So it's like a big-chested woman that shoots crosses, throws crosses at ghosts. This isn't that bad. Well, okay, it's hard, but it's not. When you're thinking about Action 52 terms, this is not bad. This is way better. At least the jumping works. I don't know why they didn't. They probably just didn't care. I was about to say, I don't know why they didn't just go back and fix Ooze, but if Ooze played like this, it'd be bad, but it would at least be playable. The music isn't that bad either, actually. Hold on, I'll play a little bit for you. It's kind of spooky. Okay, I get killed by a chain. It's not bad. It's a little shrill, but it has a melody. They actually tried with this game, I think. It plays better than all the other ones. Does this level ever end? You was shooting midair and not have it be a complete crapshoot. Alright, so this is my fault that I'm not good at this. Alright, so there's a boss? A spider with like a blue thing on its head, or... I know I heard it. Did I just walk past it? No. Nope. You can't just walk past it. And you can't kill its little babies either. Baby spiders, not baby humans. Or is this just the end of the game, or? I'm gonna assume it is, because you can't get past that. It was fun while it lasted for a little bit. Chill out. So the bad jumping is back. It's kind of like a abominable snowman snow fight. It feels like it just doesn't want to play at all. Like it's, yeah, I'm soft locked here. I can't get down there without dying. Because if you drop off a ledge, you die. And also this soundtrack is awful, as you can see. We're just going to skip past this one. Sharks. So a Atari ripoff of the Jaws game for NES. I mean, that's literally what this is. It's Jaws is already bad as is, but this is just Jaws with, yeah. There's literally nothing there to look forward to. It's just, yeah, Megalonia. Let's get into this. What is this? Okay, so Space Shooter with the slime green top, purple bottom. It's the exact same game as Critical Bypass, I think, or whatever the one was before this with like the whale that was pink. It's the same game. There's nothing different here. Well, there's some McDonald's arches. That's different. I guess if I just sit here and just hold the turbo key, maybe it'll. All right, so the game just stops and doesn't go anymore. All right, it just stopped and didn't go anywhere else. French baker. So the same thing as chill out, but in a bakery, I guess. Next, it's the same game. Atmos Quake. That actually sounds like it'll be kind of decent. It is the exact same thing as Star Evil, but with a flying V instead of a instead of the thing shooting Q-tips. We'll give it a try. We'll see if it leads anywhere. Whoops, that was my fault. I'll just hold down the turbo button and move. The screen is just bugging out hard. Like it is straight up bugging. Like this game could crash at any moment. Look at me though, I got like a death beam that's like, all I gotta do is go side to side and it just like annihilates everything. All right, level 2. Same thing, but pink. I've seen a pattern here where they like to use like these bright pink. Wow, that is, I can't tell what I'm even, it just looks like the cartridge is trying to crash, but like the emulator won't let it. Ugh, yuck. Man, I'm giving these a chance. Miang, what is that? Oh, it's this. Okay. So you're a purple squid trying to go up a grid for some reason. And there's different holes that just keep opening up to kill you. And that's pretty much it. Control's fine. Not. I blew up for some reason. I don't know why. I guess because maybe the floor fell out or something. Because some of the floor tiles are actually opening up, you know, and I guess you gotta just. Well, no, that one didn't. It just blew me up because no reason. All right. Pacifier shooting at teddy bears. Literally what this is. It's the exact same thing as Star Evil and the other ones. The thing is, the Sega Genesis version is a lot better than this. And it's kind of crazy because I feel like the Sega version, a lot of the games they actually put a whole lot of effort into. Not the greatest effort, but effort. There was an attempt made with the Sega version. So you're shooting stars out of a pacifier at teddy bears, Metroids, and I just got immediately killed by the boss of the level and for literally just being there. All right. Streamers. This is that Bionic Commando sort of thing. That's like you have to use your like little Spider-Man web thing to get up and platform. It's not bad. Really basic. Early NES title kind of vibe. And I don't really see any point continuing that. Spread fire. You're a lobster, shooting at stuff that has a completely random pattern. That's literally what this says. It's a space lobster shooting at random crap. I'm trying to get through these in one day, so we're just gonna move along. If it's something super simple, just like that, there's nothing really to see, you know, I'll just, you know. Bubblegum Rossi, same problem is, okay, can't kill the little purple dude. Same problem as Ooze, same exact control issue of jumping and having to push forward. Spikes do nothing to her for some reason. Well, I'm trying to at least I'm trying to give it a try. You know, I'm trying to at least not be like, oh, this game sucks, and then just move on immediately. I mean, unless it's something super simple that there is nothing to see possibly after. Same thing, that fall damage, man. I don't understand that. I've never understood fall damage in any platformer ever, whether it's Bubsy or it's Sonic, or, well, Sonic doesn't do it. Whether it's Bubsy or just other bad ones. I forgot, what was that one that I played recently? I don't think it was for the channel, but I played one recently that was really irritating because of the fall. It was in Yet It Moves. That's right. I did play that for the channel. Instead, if it got rid of the fall damage, it would actually make the game a whole lot better. And, you know, wouldn't make it just a frustrating mess. Like all they would have to do is update it. Just put out a little patch. Just make it where you don't die from the tiniest of fall damage, and it would be a much better game. Had a great concept. Had great level design. But it needed more time in the oven. And it sold pretty well, and we never got a sequel. Don't know why. Oh well. There's Bubblegum Rossi. Let's see. Micro Mike. Okay. A guy that's going way too fast in a pink submarine, and you can't control it at all because it's going way too fast. Okay, we're just not even gonna try that. We're just gonna exit out of that. That's just ridiculous. Underground. All right, so you are a guy that can't touch mushrooms for some reason. But you can fall from the sky basically and be okay, but I bet you anything it has fall damage. So this is like their attempt to kind of like Pitfall, I guess. Can he not jump at all? I don't think he can even jump. And he can't get up there either because, well, maybe we'll give it another try. We're not going to give up that easily. Even though we should, yeah, we're going to give up that easily because there's no way to even get up there. That's just going to be a waste of time. Rocket Jock. Guy with the lasso sitting on a missile like he's Doctor Strangelove going through blood red backgrounds and shooting at cows that are flying through the air because they were in the movie Twister, along with some armadillos apparently. This is the most Texas thing ever. Okay, let's move on to Non-Human. I think I've actually seen it. Okay, so Bill Cosby faces, but Bill Cosby vampire faces, and a guy that has like an eagle thing on his head and a cape, or maybe it's a hang glider. And it has the same exact jumping issue as Ooze, of having to jump and press forward and not being able to do it the Mario way, which was the standard. And I don't understand why they didn't take 2 extra seconds to, make the controls work. Maybe it was just a little too difficult to have 2 inputs cooperate, or they just didn't care. Well, they cared enough for Haunted Castle, so can I even go any further than this? Okay, so you have to be perfect down to the last minute detail to get past that bit right there. And of course, the fall damage, you fall like literally a block of height, and it's game over. Like, what? Man, I get being difficult, and I get the fall damage thing. It's dumb, but it's a thing. But why such a short height? I'm really trying here. I'm legit trying to get through this for you. So you can see more of this terrible game. If you are awake listening to this or watching this. Come on, man. That jump is just so annoying. So my strategy here is get as far to the edge as you can, then jump dead center. Don't try to jump off of nothing. Well, okay, so we can't. Are you serious? There's no way over that. Dude, this game is outrageously difficult, and you can't kill it either with a shot. So next, I'm not gonna waste my time with that all night. Oh, Crybaby, lovely. So a kid crawling around on the floor of an ice palace, using a stick to beat things, and crawling on the furniture to whack people for some reason, along with the guy that looks supposed to be, I guess, Joe Pesci from Home Alone. So he crawls up the couch, and then that's how he gets to the next floor, because that makes sense. Sure. And then he gets hit by a Joe Pesci and takes away some of his health. So they actually added a health meter to the baby. And he fell off a toolbox and cried. And the music is a horrible rendition of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I just kind of wonder what the devs were like smoking when they made this stuff. Like when they thought of, let's make a game about a baby that like falls off of stuff and dies. I mean, really? That's just weird, bro. Slashers? Is this gonna be like Jason Voorhees or something? Okay, so it's a beat 'em up, kinda. Spider-Man? Or is that just a black dude from Karate Kid, or is that Spider-Man? I can't tell. So like You go a few steps and then you stop and then you kind of fidget around with the beating up women and Spider-Mans and just, yeah. Here's another Spider-Man. Now look at that and tell me that's not Spider-Man. It's like it stops you and you can't move any faster forward. Basically, you just mash the punch button until they just disappear, really. That's all it is to this so far. I mean, he's getting to a little tussle. Like, see, I went like 2 steps and just immediately had to beat someone else up. That's a lot of strategy. Amazing beat 'em up. Firefight, eat your heart out. Look out, Streets of Rage. Kind of like Rock'em Sock'em Robots where you can't lose as long as you just mash the button. But I'm using a turbo controller, so I'm just literally walking a few steps forward, then punching somebody in the face. Oh, they actually got a hit on me? What? Okay, so I gotta use the kick now? For some reason? Alright, so now we're on the streets instead of the rooftop, which we should have started with the street, really. I feel my IQ dropping in real time playing this. Now we're getting big dudes that kind of look like a hair metal guy, like they come out of nowhere to fight us. Like a bearded hair, like a dude with the mullet, maybe. Level 3, back on the rooftop, really? With pink bricks. Why not? All right, we're moving on to something else. That's just the same thing over and over. Need to get some brain cells back. That was called Slashers. Now we're on Crazy Shuffle, spelled wrong. And spelled right on the title screen. I have no idea what I'm looking at. It's a maze with this like poop green. And it literally looks like the inside of someone's intestines when they have a sinus infection. That's exactly what it looks like. I'm just going to skip it because I don't know what I'm looking at. So, sorry. Buzz power. All right, so a dude that's can like do like a sonic spin for some reason and has the exact same thing that Ooze has, where you have to jump up and then hit right. Well, now he's naked. Yeah, he's like a naked Mr. Magoo now for some reason. I mean, all right, fine. Some reason, like, what is everything an electric shaver that he hits? I mean, that's a hair dryer. And I just lost some of my fuck. I can't control this thing. That's literally what it is. Like he's rolling into like hair dryers, brushes, and am I allowed to hit anything, or how does this even work? He has like feet that are like like as wide as long as his body, kind of. So he has like platform feet. A big old nose. All right, fine, whatever. I can't figure out how to even play that at all. So, shooting gallery. All right, so this is literally just the same thing as those other ones where like you basically just shoot at stuff from the bottom, sort of like Galaga, but nothing shows up. Seriously? You sit there and nothing shows up for like 5 seconds? All right, fine, whatever, we'll skip. Lollipops. A green dude with a lollipop and the exact same jumping problem as Ooze again. And apparently swinging a lollipop lets you like float in midair. It plays a little better than Ooze just because of the speed, but it's just not, it's not good either. So obviously it's not good. It's actually fine. Just turn back around and just nuke me, bro. I mean, like, then you slow down. Oh my God. It's the same thing as Ooze, basically. Just cheap stuff comes from off screen and just kills you for some reason. Like, let me guess, it also has fall damage. I had to hit a pink Tootsie Pop. I'm gonna leave it in because I don't think YouTube's gonna demonetize me for saying Tootsie. It's not a word. You're being titsy. Well, handsy is a word. So I'm being too handsy with you. I guess someone being titsy is them rubbing their boobs on you or something. I don't know. What? So I guess I'm supposed to go up. Well, he's gonna kill me instantly. See? I'm fine. It's good enough. We showed some of it. Evil Empire. So I'm really tiny and I can't. And I got a little shooting thing, and it would be nice if they at least explained something to you about the game and what it is, but I guess I just have to go pick up purple objects for some reason. We have like Agrabah in the background. And now we got to go across here to shoot at this crocodile thing that won't die. Oh, there it goes. No, you just immediately respawn, so you can't get over there. No? Okay, so it doesn't come back. All right, let's. Then a guy on a flying carpet, I guess, is just over there. Level 2, same exact thing with just a different layout. All right. I'd like to get through this stuff at some point. Sombreros. So a Mexican guy with a sombrero is walking down the street while cars are trying to run him over, but he can't walk on the sidewalk for some reason. There's like traffic cones that are in his way. Like he can somehow, like he can like shoot at the cars though. I feel uncomfortable. We're just gonna move on from that. Storm over the desert. This one has a title screen as well. So a tank that moves slower than a real tank on a cute green background and a giant Saddam Hussein is just running around because why not? And then stuff just kind of disappears and doesn't really do anything. I literally can just sit here and like nothing happens. Like at all. I'm just literally sitting here and nothing's happening. Like speeding it up and it just goes to the next level, which is the same thing. So, you know, if you were going to do a desert game, why is everything green? It's supposed to be like dust. Looks like brown would be a better color. All right. Mash Man. What is Mash Man? So Fuzz Dude has come back and he lost his spin power, but he needs to go to bed. So like he's going through a weird, trippy wonderland with slightly better controls than Ooze, but not much better. He just has to jump over creepy looking eyeballs because why not? All right, they came from outer space? Of course. So I am a beetle that is shooting at lobsters. And the bug kind, not the John Lennon kind. If John Lennon was in this game, it would be a much better game. The same thing over and over. Let's get into Laser League. What is this? Like laser tag? Okay. So we're a guy with a jetpack that is doing the exact same thing as the whale did, but slower and more clunky. So we're gonna skip. Billy Bob. I think I'm. Oh, this is that Indiana Jones game that actually wasn't that bad from what I remember. So it's sort of like they were trying to do like a Prince of Persia kind of thing. I mean, it's hard and it is bad, but it's at least it's different. You know, it's something different. So it's almost like a Pitfall, Indiana Jones kind of thing is what they're going for. But the controls aren't terrible. You know, well they're bad, but they're not god awful. At least you can jump better than Ooze could. And like he kind of, for some reason he has fall damage. If he didn't have fall damage, this would actually be kind of neat. You know what? Even with fall damage, it's kind of neat. I kind of want to see where this goes. Because I never really played the original Prince of Persia much. But this is definitely a Prince of Persia wannabe mixed with Indiana Jones. Pretty sure Prince of Persia had a lot of Indiana Jones in it as well anyway, so. This is actually really hard. Oh. All right, well, I'm just going to give up on that one because that one's way too hard, but it's actually kind of interesting. Looks like it could have been a something. City of Doom. The Spider-Man game for the Atari, but with a guy just climbing a building. Is he climbing a building or is he just like running along like a ship full of, no, those are windows. So he's climbing a building. Okay, bits and pieces. A vampire that can't turn back. It looks kind of like Nosferatu running through like a graveyard with a bunch of crosses, and the creature from the Black Lagoon, the werewolf man, and boxers for some reason, and he has no attack. He can just jump over stuff, and everything's too high for him to jump over. So that's that game, yeah. I don't know why they called it bits and pieces, but beeps and blip. All right, so a space shooter where you're basically controlling, just like you did in that other game where you have to point in a direction that you're also shooting in the direction you're also moving in, so it makes zero sense. Somewhat, and you can get a bunch of one-ups, I guess, that you can't pick up. Well, there we go. I mean, At least it's generous with the extra lives. I mean, give it that. And I don't think anything can really hurt you, can it? I guess. All right, let's Manchester. Soccer? No. Has a little weird doo-doo-doo-doo noise every time you jump. And they can put their hand out to shake an enemy's hand, I guess, and die in one hit. It has the same ooze jump thing. So I just want to shake this guy's hand, I guess. And he explodes. Alright. One good, stiff, strong handshake. Next. Boss. You are a lizard with a gun that is running through an empty level with people dropping bombs out of windows. All right. Well, speaking of that, I need to actually play Rampage at some point on the channel. And they're throwing bombs too fast for you to dodge. All right. Well, whatever. Dead Ant. Galaga with the worst graphics I've ever seen, of an ant basically just shooting up at other ants really slow. Ambo, like Rambo, but no, that has nothing to do. Okay, so it's a pig man that's like doing what. I only get one life. Hambo's Adventure. Does he have an attack? No, just jumps. You get one life in this one for some reason, and the level gets harder or easier based on nothing. So, and they give you 1-ups because I don't get it. I don't get that at all. Time warp. Your set of fingers listening to 50s rock and roll music, and it says time whenever you die. I'm going to give it a little bit more than that. This is one of the weirdest looking games I've ever played. I don't understand what I'm looking at. It looks like the devs were just like, yeah, just throw whatever. All these assets that we didn't use, just throw them in this game. It'll be fine. All right, that's enough of that. All right, Jigsaw. All right, so that's not a puzzle. It's just a guy that can't jump over things. Fine. So that game ends right there. Ninja Assault. So the worst version of Ninja Gaiden you've ever seen. Versus Invincible Ninja. Well, very close to Invincible. It's like a beat 'em up kind of with like a Ryu Hayabusa that just does exactly what the other guy did. And then gets eaten by a dog. Sure, why not? All right, let's get on with this. We got to get to the Sega Genesis version next at some point. Ninja, so we already done it. Robbie Robot. So like rob the robot, or all right? So a fat guy with a pistol is running through the caves of Hoth, just shooting at stuff and farting. I guess. There's literally nothing to this game. You just go right, you just keep hitting the button, and that's it. There's nothing here. All right. Cheetah Man. It's time for Cheetah Man. See how stupid the guy who funded this was. He really believed that one of the worst games possible was going to just take the world by storm and defeat one of the biggest icons of 80s entertainment, Ninja Turtles. The bug doesn't even turn around. Please tell me we're coming up to that gorilla that you can't do anything about. By the way, the guy in the previous level that was running straight through, the screen over and over, he was the final boss. He was supposed to be, he was the guy that's the villain of the entire, there's the monkey. You can't do nothing about it. I don't think he can. I think he can beat him, but like the screen just like locks and like you never. We're just gonna call it there because I'm pretty sure you can't beat him. I think he's invincible. Let me look it up really quick, make sure about that. Good old ChatGPT to the rescue on this one. Can you defeat the gorilla at the end of Cheetah Men 2? Let's see. The gorilla is officially called Ape Man. He is the level 4 boss, which you can face as Hercules. However, you cannot defeat the Ape Man in a normal game. After Ape Man disappears or dies on screen, you are stuck on an empty level with no way to continue, no exit, no ending, no reward other than limbo. The game simply stops, and the only option is to reset. So that's the end of this one. Let's move on to the Sega Genesis. All right, let's get into Cheetah Man. Norm reached out of the TV and pulled him inside. When he looked up, he saw 3 gigantic yellow bodies. It was the Cheetah Men. He began to explain. The Cheetah Men told of the enemies here in the game world. Don't worry, we will fight for you. The Cheetah Men ran off, and now the Cheetah Men. Cheetah Men, not Cheetah Men. During this game, you will have 3 different Cheetah Men, a different one in every second level to fight for you. Alright. Use Ares, wooden clubs, and martial arts skills to defeat the enemies on the first 2 levels. Okay, this is Cheetah Man. And he dies from water, because of course he does. Best superhero ever. And blocked by little kids' blocks. So yeah, you can't even step over a block. He just has like some, what do you call them? Maracas or whatever that he just kind of shakes at people. What is, okay, so I have to go all, I get it. It's dumb, but it's there. I might as well play Cheetah Man 2 in this video as well, just to, because I'm not going to be able to make much time out of Cheetah Man 2. It's just, short and bad, so. I'm like, it'll just fit. I'll just put timestamps for that. Okay. So they don't take fall damage. Good. I just put out Saddam Hussein. Yay me. Yay. So they don't have, he doesn't have the ooze problem, as I call it. So the guy that funded this, has gone pretty much missing from history. Like no one knows where he's at, and no one's been able to ever find him because he's hiding from probably a bunch of people that he owes money to. Um, let's be real, he probably got that money from some, venture capitalist types that are, wanting to sue him for doing this. Cause I mean, dude, man, was kind of a shady guy from what I've heard to begin with. Like they said he was like, sort of like a John McAfee type, like had all these weird sort of criminal connections or something. Maybe he went to a loan shark for it. Cause I wouldn't, they've tracked him down, I think like once, and like someone emailed and says, I'm not him, but why do you want to know? Kind of thing, it's like, it was probably him. If he's still alive. I don't think he expected his crappy little scam game here to be that big of an internet legendary meme, He'll still be having videos made about it in 2025, and like the nerd's biggest video that's not an accessory video is Action 52. Believe it or not, it really is. I looked it up. His number one video that's not NES accessories, Game Boy accessories, or one of his AVG in season XYZ or whatever, is this one. Action 52. Seriously. This is his highest rated episode. This is the test to see if there's even any gold in them Dar Hills for bad games. So now I gotta fight like a rhino boss dude that just like kind of jumps at me, And he just instantly kills me every time. I don't even know if I'm hurting him. Am I hurting him at all? Am I doing anything besides sticking a stick up his butt? I mean, can I literally just stand here and just Hercules, the largest of the three, uses his raw strength as his only weapon. Jump if you can, and you must something. So all he does is he punches. So he's literally the same as the other one, just slightly different animation. Instead of holding up maracas to hit people with, he does it with his fist. And he has a health meter somewhere, because apparently he can tank multiple hits. But toy cars will kill him. You understand you're supposed to have your heroes be like Superman, right? Like where they can be like take a lot of damage because they're heroes. I don't understand the toy car thing. I get wrecked by like a baby hammer kind of thing. A hammer with baby legs. And then one of those things from Ooze. He can't crouch, obviously, because why would he? And now he has undodgeable bullets that he can't beat. I'm trying to make good of this. I really am. I'm trying to see a little bit of good in Action 52. I don't know why, because I'm stupid, I guess, but sometimes, like, even with the bad games, I try to think, is it really as bad as they say on the videos? They have to be exaggerating. Well, the Nerd wasn't. That's a really bad game. It's not the worst of the bunch, but it's pretty bad. Let's move on to another console entirely. Actually, no, we're going to do Cheetah 2 really quick. Give me a second. All right, it's been... I don't know if I've ever played Cheetah 2, actually. I don't think I have. I've seen videos on it, but I've never actually played it myself, I don't think. So you can't jump on these blocks at all. You do have a health bar that is up there in the top left, and I know the final boss you can't beat him, like the game just locks up or something. But we're gonna get what we can out of this. This is standalone, by the way. This isn't part of Action 52. It's a standalone Cheetah-Man game, and you can't kill the stuff on the ground. I legit don't think I've ever played this. I don't think so. I think like I played Action 52, mainly the Sega Genesis version, and I remember somewhat accidentally playing it because I had an emulator with the entire ROM set, and I remember seeing something called Action 52 on the Genesis one, and I was just like, "What is that? You know, what is Action 52?" And I remember playing the Genesis version and thinking it was kind of okay. You know, I didn't love it, but I mean, I thought it was kind of a fun, you know, super simple collection. You know, I didn't think nothing of it back then, but this game is like ridiculously hard. Actually, it just has like, you can't dodge half the stuff that's coming at you is the problem, and you can't duck. So this is the only movement you have: left, right, jump, and shoot. But you can't duck. And this is your jump zone. You see what I mean? Like, look how much he has to work with. And you can't shoot anything on the ground. Don't you like that pattern? They stole it from Mario. The blocks. But they didn't add anything to the blocks. They were too lazy. This is an I don't know if it's well, it probably was unfinished, but it was a unreleased game. Because by the time it did come around, I think the company went under or something. Look, that Invisible Swordsman is having a good time. Look at him dancing. He's just jamming out to the soundtrack, you know. He don't care. He don't care at all. He's just like, whatever, bro. Am I soft locked right here where I can't jump past that ant? Yeah, the block is in the way and he won't spawn until, I think I might have to. All right, maybe that. Oh my God, bro. You have to take a hit there. You just can't. There's no way to stop it. He shows up at the exact wrong time. Then you start at the beginning again. Like, that's this entire game is just taking unnecessary hits. But you can't even like cheese it. Like, I'm so confused. Okay. So I can't duck under the bird either. I might have a spot there from really quick. Like that. Now what? That's what? A bird. That's what I've kind of realized about a lot of Action 52 games is it's a lot of, it really is a lot of inch forward and die kind of stuff. There's always going to have something coming 100 miles an hour at you where you're not expecting it. So the only way you can really play the game is to have a turbo controller and just inch way forward and pray that nothing comes, you know, at a bad angle. By the way, the controls are still swapped. It's still B is jumping, A is shoot for some reason. Just don't even bother trying to figure that out. Just spam. It's just spam. They just spam enemies at you. Did I just blow up a tornado with the freaking crossbow? Bro, what is this? It's just mayhem. The bad kind of mayhem, you know, the stuff after Euronymous died. So we're just gonna have nothing for for a lot of this level? Or is it gonna just loop around and do the same thing again? I mean, it kind of looks like it, but I know that there's 4 levels. Bruh, please don't make me play this over and over. This is a special type of bad place. It's supposed to be a sleep video. This is not very sleepy. Bruh, seriously, what? Just... This is probably the hardest game I've ever played. It might be. And for every wrong reason possible. I just need a second just to breathe for a second before I keep going through this just horrible, magnificently horrible game. I really feel like this should have been the game that everybody talked about, not Action 52. Because at least Action 52 had one decent version. This is by far the worst game on the NES. It's not even close. You can't even get worse than this. It's just maybe that Conan game that Nerd did where like down was jump. Maybe that's the worst. That was at least released. Being killed by worms. I'm a superhero that's supposed to replace the Ninja Turtles. I think this is actually the final boss. No, the final boss is a gorilla, isn't it? You know, most of the time I get angry at stuff like this, but I'm not even mad at it. You know why? Because it sucks for the wrong reason. It's not a matter of personal failure where I'm the problem, you know. This is the game's fault this time. How many times do I have to hit him? Bro, how many times do I need to hit this guy? There it is. Just, oh my God. Like, I had to hit him like 25, 30 times. There he goes with his little floating thing again. At least he can kind of stomp stuff on the ground. This is where the game where you just inch along and dance the entire time. That's the strategy I'm using. It's working. Just move along and just keep hitting the attack button over and over. I was thinking maybe there's a health power up in this level. A health power up in this game. I really thought that they'll program an item in the game that wasn't just spamming just random sprites at you to do nothing but rather dance or just run into you. Just what am I doing with my life? Level 3 again. Fine. So I'm fighting wasps and bugs on the ground and wasps and bugs on the ground and more worms and bugs on the ground and more wasps and more wasps and more bugs on the ground. I mean, really? This is supposed to replace Ninja Turtles. I'm just saying. They really thought that this was going to replace Ninja Turtles. That tells you. All right, let's move on to the Sega Genesis version of Action 52. I actually had to reinstall RetroArch just to make this work. Yes, that's a little bit of a warning for what we're about to get into. But first, let's get into a game I actually am a bit fond of called Go Bonkers. It's #1 on the Action 52 cartridge, and it's basically, well, it is a clone of a Macintosh game from the early 90s called Diamonds. It is actually quite a fun game, honestly. It's very difficult, especially the third stage, which is where most people, if they ever do play this, will get stuck. But if you get past that, it gets a lot harder. But it's still a little bit of a fun game, you know? It's a nice little time waster, and I wish there were more games that, you know, basically did this. Here's level 1, though. But don't think that this quality is going to go to the rest of the games. I got through about half the games, and then I ended up having to redo the recording entirely because my controller just stopped cooperating entirely. By the way, we are completely screwed now because, yeah, there's no, yeah. So we gotta reset. We literally can't go any further because we don't have a green brush. But, you know, maybe play the original Diamonds if you like that sort of gameplay right there. Here's one that I kept trying to get to work on the previous recording, but it did not cooperate. So let's hope it does cooperate this time. It was basically like the controls just kept locking up and I couldn't get like the C button to work. It was really weird. But the object of this game is to basically destroy all the guns in each stage and try not to die, because if you do touch any of the walls, you'll die. This game is not that bad though. It's definitely difficult, but it's fine. If you like the original Asteroids game, it plays a lot like that. You know, where it's kind of floaty and, you know, when you fly in one direction, you kind of get stuck going that direction, you know, that kind of thing. If you can handle that, you probably won't mind this game too much. It's not overly difficult. Well, it is pretty hard, but it's not overly bad control-wise. It's actually pretty tight, so I would recommend if you want to play something that's kind of like Asteroids, and you know, this is not bad at all. that's the thing. Like the Sega Genesis version of Action 52, while it has some really big stinkers on it, I will admit, they really did put some effort into a lot of the first games on the list. I'm going to actually just set a save state for the menu. That way we can just exit out of games really quickly. All right, Dino Tennis is one where it is literally just a two-player game that we can't play really, but we're basically the brown dinosaur or the orange one as it says, and we always win because the purple one, aka Barney, doesn't do anything because there's no second player. Now let's go to Ooze, which I'm sure you were waiting for. Ooze is a bit of an interesting one this time around. Thank God the controls finally work. That was such a pain because I was like trying to explain in the recording that I scrapped that I was like, he has a gun, it works, you know, I just can't get it to work. I was complaining about the emulator the entire time instead of trying to actually, you know, show you something entertaining, and you know, I've scrapped it, so now I'm redoing it. But the object of this particular version of Ooze is to collect all the keys in the level. The controls a lot better than the original Ooze on NES. Not the best, but you know, it's fine. It's about as good as those high-tech games you remember back in the day. You know, those old Tom and Jerry games where it, you know, the best thing you can say about it is it's a platformer. You know, wasn't good, wasn't bad, was just kind of bleh, you know, kind of there. And that's kind of what Ooze is. It's just kind of here, you know. Not good. It's not really bad. It's just okay. That's what a lot of Action 52 on the Sega Genesis is. It's a lot less awful, you know, terrible, crashy stuff, and it's just a lot more. It's, you know, it's there. It's fine. It is the best way I can put a lot of these games. They're fine, you know. They're not something that's going to rival Mario World, but they're also not, you know, a complete dumpster fire. At least not all of them, but, you know, some of them still are. Just got to wait for the platform to come back. But, you know, it's not an awful game. I don't know what they charged for the Sega version or if they even released this thing. I don't remember hearing about this one really at all either. You know, well, no one heard about it until the nerd did it, probably. I had heard about it before the nerd did it, but that's because I was, you know, a retro freak and had emulators that I would, you know, play a lot of games that were off the beaten path, more or less. Well, I don't know if I can get back in that pipe. I think we might be stuck. Yeah, we're stuck. Now this, so we're missing a key somewhere. There's a key right here. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Hey, at least we started at the beginning so I can actually see what key I missed. That's a positive, isn't it? But I really don't think Ooze for this is terrible. If they would have, you know, given it more time and, you know, more effort, it could have been an okay game. It wouldn't have been in the top 10. Wouldn't have been in the top 20 probably, but it would be like a fine. You know, it would be like a 6, you know? If it would be like a 6 at best if they really put some effort into it. It'd be just like another generic Sega game that no one talks about really, you know. For Action 52 standards, it's actually amazing. But that's a bad metric. Not something to brag about, you know, being, you know, a 10 on an Action 52 cart. So I could see someone actually enjoying this a little bit, even though it's so bad it's good kind of thing. Not sure where I'm missing the last key. But the second level really sucks anyway, so. We'll just call it at that. There's really not much to see. It's just a lot of, searching for keys. And we got, another 50 games to get through, so. Get the star ball. Alright, so this is just basically a pinball game. It's not much to see, but it is pretty decent, honestly. Controls pretty well. It's not bad at all. So A shoots the ball, and then your left D-pad controls the left paddle, and then C on the other side of the controller controls the other paddle. So it's almost like playing actual pinball on your Sega Genesis, and it runs pretty good. Is it the most interesting board? No, but I mean, and it also for some reason the ball goes through the paddle. I don't understand that part, but yeah, so let's move on to the next game. Let's move on to the next game. But yeah, I had to reinstall RetroArch for this to work, so it's gonna screw up maybe a project or two. Gonna have to figure out how to warp zone and Mario Wii so I can get back to where I was on that game. I don't even remember where I was. I gotta check the footage. Anyway, let's move on to Sidewinder, which is basically a, what do you call it? Afterburner clone. It's not very good, by the way. At least my C button finally works, so I'm happy about that. So you just kind of just fly around and, it's like Ace Combat if like it was made by Tiger handheld. It's not that bad, but it's pretty bad. But you just hold the button down. You don't see any actual bullets flying. No planes blow up. You just kind of scroll around and do this the whole time. It's not bad. You can't crash. Probably about as good as Top Gun was. Move on to the next one. I'm going to kind of just barrel through these because I'd like to be able to get this video done this century. But if there's one that I think is particularly interesting and not just a one-screen bore fest, I'll actually show it off. So let's go to Daytona. Daytona is actually kind of neat. This is a racing game that is the poor man's Top Gear. It's very poor man's Top Gear. Let's get into the game. And it shows you these stats for some reason that really don't matter. Because you're probably only going to play one race of this, if anything. I want to hit C because there we go. Well, I think the other cars then flew away. Well, it took it was taking a sweet time to move on. You hold down the C button to go fast, and then you hit A to, that's annoying. It's a really annoying scheme, actually, hitting like opposite sides of the button layout. So C is your accelerator and A is your flashing lights warning, by the way. Didn't think about that, but it doesn't look terrible for that era, and it plays okay, but you basically have to shift gears with the A button. So you basically have two gears. You have low and high. Well, low lets you speed up really fast, and then you turn it to high to actually keep going fast, and that's how it works. But it's just kind of inconvenient, But this is definitely not Top Gear. Top Gear is way better, and I may eventually play Top Gear on the channel because I love Top Gear, especially Top Gear 2. That's the one I'll play is Top Gear 2. I'm probably not going to play Top Gear 1 because I don't like the dual screen thing on Top Gear 1. It cuts the screen in half for literally no reason. And I know SNES Drunk, who I love and appreciate, and I even have one of his mugs. You know, he's probably the only YouTuber I ever bought merch from that I can remember. And I bought one of his mugs, and I'm still proud of that thing, and you know, still use it here and there. But he loves Top Gear, the first one, and I don't know if you ever talked about the second one, but I don't like the first one, but I love the second one. This plays okay. It's fine. You know, it doesn't remind me of Daytona at all because, you know, Daytona's not a flat racetrack. But as a racing game for like that era, it's fine. It's not overly bad. That's what a lot of Action 52 is though. All right, so B is break. All right, so you have a break. Like that's a lot of what Action 52 on the Sega Genesis says. It is not great, but it's fine. You know, if you were just it's sort of like what would be called shovelware today. Like, you know, like games that aren't anything special, but they're there. You know, if you have nothing else, it's just, you know, it's something to do. You know, it's better than watching paint dry kind of thing. You know. That's what I think this is perfect for, you know, back then, you know, if you had a way to play it portably, it would be, you know, pretty good, you know, at least the Sega version. But like I said, it's nothing special. It's there. But by the time that you would have been able to play this portably, you probably have better games. You know, I mean, really, like you would, instead of playing Action 52 on Genesis, you'd probably be playing Sonic or, you know, something else if you had a portable Sega Genesis game. But, you know, if you wanted a little bit of variety for your kid, I can't see them getting too upset by having, you know, this to pick around on a bit here and there. But I wouldn't pay $200 for it. If you could find like a bargain bin for like $10, I think it'll be all right. Let's move on to the next game. So, but I wouldn't pay whatever they, you know, some full price for. By the way, I was actually in Walmart, I believe it was yesterday, maybe the day before. I can't remember. I think it was yesterday. I was looking and they had the Switch 2 in stock, which I was kind of shocked by. $449, which is fine. You know, it's console or whatever. But I was looking at the games and I saw that they wanted like 70 or 80 bucks for like the new Donkey Kong game. And I'm just like, what? And I know a lot of people are shocked by that. By the way, this is called 15 Puzzle. It's basically you have to move the boxes around to spell out 1, 2, 3, 4, you know. So it's not anything super fancy, but it can be a fun time waster if you're into these sort of slider puzzle games. So I don't mind this at all, really. But only problem is that it's on a timer, which isn't very fun, but I think I would kind of like this if it was not timed. I could see myself wasting time with this like I would Solitaire or something. But yeah, I was seeing that and I was like, oh my God. You know, like if I start playing Switch games, you know, I better be making money on YouTube by that point doing gaming stuff, because good God, I mean, I'll pay 60 to 70 bucks for like Mario Maker, because that's, you know, it's an endlessly replayable game that I can make a ton of content out of. But for one game that might get like 100 views on it, no, I'm not paying 80 bucks for Donkey Kong. You know, when I can play Action 52 and maybe get more views than that would have got for free. So as an investment, it's terrible right now. I mean, and it boils down to, as you probably already know, Nintendo can do this because Nintendo knows you're going to pay for it. They know that they know you are going to pay for it, and you will, you know, no matter what we say, you know, as people that are, you know, not blind fanboys to it, they will, you know, they know that you personally will pay, you know, that amount of money for a thing. I'm not going to play this anymore. This is a little annoying. But yeah, $70 for a game is psychotic. And then some of them are asking for like 80. I'm just like, for one game? Like, bro, like most of the time, I won't even pay over 20 bucks for a game on Steam, and it better be a great game for that. And I'm not trying to say that game devs don't deserve more. By the way, this is Action 52's Mario Paint, and there's literally nothing to this. You can just scribble. Yeah. So that's not worth bothering with. But yeah, like 80 bucks for a game? Good God. You know, for me, the gaming thing, like all these games are free. You know, if I didn't have the cartridges, I could play them for free. So I got thousands of games I can pick from. I'm not paying 80 bucks for one game. You know, no matter how good it is. By the way, this game's completely broken. It doesn't work. This little 2-player thing, like the dude just stays up in the corner with his shield on and you can't kill him. So just skip Star Duel. Haunted Hill, let's move on. This one has a little bit of promise, but it's still pretty bad. That's just crazy, those prices for those games. But Mario Maker, I can see it because it's endlessly replayable, where there's always going to be new levels coming out and, you know, new creative sort of level themes and level ideas and like puzzle levels. And it has a, you know, it would almost be like paying 80 bucks for like Minecraft when it first came out. You know, it's like, yeah, it's 80 bucks, but you're going to be playing this for like the next 10 years, you know, that's the difference. But like something like Donkey Kong, like you might play through it like once or twice and then never again. I mean, I love DKC too, but if they put out a remake of it and it was 80 bucks, I'm not paying that. As much as I would love to play it, I'm not going to pay 80 bucks for that. The value just ain't there. 50 bucks is a huge ask to begin with. 80 is outrageous. And the thing on top of that is these games that I buy, they're a write-off for me because it's part of my business. I'm a gaming channel, so I can write off the games I buy to play on here, but that doesn't mean they're free. It just means that I don't have to pay, you know, taxes on the income if I was making any money, which I'm not right now. But I mean, if I was making a lot of money, I could use the games that I purchase as write-offs to, you know, relieve myself of some tax burden. You can't kill the Grim Reaper, of course, because why would I think you could? Yeah, but I can write them off, and even then, 70 bucks. Like, unless I was making a ton of money on YouTube, where that $70 game could actually, you know, help me by being a write-off. No. Just no. Honestly, the way my finances work out, and I'm not trying to, you know, be grim or beg for money, but I'm saying I don't make enough to, you know, I don't make enough to even be taxed at this point after all the expenses. I mean, I've lost money on the venture, really. So at that point, I just write a total loss on the year. You know, it's like, you know, you brought in like 10 grand or, you know, 20 grand or something. And then it's like you tell them, well, I lost 30, and then you don't get taxed because, I mean, they don't tax you on a loss. But I mean, it's legitimate. I mean, like, I don't make a ton of money doing this or any of the stuff I do for work. You know, I'm making enough to pay my bills, but then, you know, I also have to dip into my savings too. So I'm not exactly rolling in it for sure. So, but if I was rolling in it, if I was pulling, like, if I was like the ninja of sleep YouTube, you know, making, you know, 10,000 a month, then sure, you know, I'd be going out there buying $70 games left and right just to write it off. Just to write it off and have content, you know, but if I was that, then they probably would just be sending me the game for free, honestly. I don't think Nintendo would, but every other game publisher probably would. All right, we're done with this game. It has promise, but it's just a pain. You know what I mean, though. I'm not complaining about the money, but you know what? Even though I said that about the money thing, I'll tell you what. I turned off mid-rolls. That completely, like, you know, tore up a a lot of my income on the channel. And why did I do that? Because I don't want you to be sleeping, you know, listening to my content, and all of a sudden it explodes with a freaking Coca-Cola or some ad for like Geico or something. I don't want it to happen. So I want you to be able to sleep. Like, that's the point. Like, I kept thinking about that. I'm like, well, mid-rolls were fine when I was doing reaction content, because, you know, people would want to hear the rest of the story or whatever, and, you know, they'll be invested in it. But for sleep content, if you're listening to me to sleep, and all of a sudden, kaboom, you know, where you're going from my soft commentary to, you know, freaking Geico ad or something for like Progressive, it's like, also, you're just going to turn it off, because it's like, I don't want to hear this. You know, and then it just ruins the point. That's why I basically have it where there's only ads before the video and none during the video, you know. So if you do want to help, appreciate it. You know, super thanks or a membership would be great, but it's not required. But I'm just saying, I did do that, take that cut alone just because I didn't want you to be woken up by a freaking Coca-Cola ad on a video called Fall Asleep While I Play. I mean, I was making a lot more. I was probably will always be making more money when I was doing the reaction stuff, but I just hated it. I hated doing it. I hated the topic. I had someone drop one of the links to the old show that I used to do videos about, where another YouTuber, God bless him, you know, I think his name is Here Within. He's still doing it. You know, good for him. Hope he gets lots of success doing it. He did a lot more work than I ever did on that, you know, reaction stuff. Even though I was twice as big as he was when, you know, when I quit. But, you know, God bless him for that, for putting up with it. But I saw his video and I was watching it for like a second. And I was like, oh God, that's catfish, isn't it? And then I just turned it off, and it wasn't his fault. And I really hope that you support him if you enjoyed that kind of content. But I personally just was like, it was almost like seeing an ex-girlfriend that would just really was, you know, you don't hate her because of what she did. You just got really tired of her, and you finally got rid of her. And it was a little bit messy, but, you know, you got rid of her, and it's like, you know, she just kind of pops back up, and you're like, ugh. You know what I mean? That's what catfish does to me at this point. It's kind of like, ugh. Like, we had some good times, but a lot of it was just, ugh. You just get tired of seeing it. By the way, that was Cheetah Men, and it's really bad. Here's Skirmish, a board game that I can't play because it's 2-player only. But it looks like it would be interesting if you had 2 players, but it doesn't tell you how to play it either. Yeah, and it quotes Douglas MacArthur, so let's run right past that. Depth charge. Are we going to play a submarine? Ooh, we're a submarine. Well, not a submarine. We're a destroyer, I guess. Destroying submarines. I wish Here Within, or whatever his name is, I forgot. I think that's what his name is. I wish him the best of luck. I hope that he gets all the viewers that are looking for my stuff, because he was really good, you know, and God bless him. You know, Godspeed to him and his channel. But I just, even if I was to go back to reacting stuff ever, I'm not watching Catfished again. It was so boring by the end. It was like watching the same show every single time, and it never innovated. It never got better. It was always the exact same stories with the exact same characters with the exact same everything. Nothing changed. You could literally quote, you know, I could literally just toss up like I could recite an entire Catfish episode to you without seeing it. It was that cookie cutter and boilerplate, to the point where I was starting to wonder if it was even real. You know, if these people were even just, you know, just given a script, because there was never any difference in the actual cases. It was always the same thing over and over. You know, it was an old lady that, you know, had a husband died, and all of a sudden someone starts sweet talking her on Facebook, and then she sent him $100 and some thousand, and it turns out he's fake and from Nigeria. You know, he's from Lagos, and it was the same thing every single time, and it never changed, ever. It was always the same show, and I did over 100 videos that you can watch on Patreon, by the way. that I don't even link anymore because I don't want to be associated with that stuff anymore. And I was just like, bro, I'm literally making peanuts, not even pennies, but peanuts, making fun of old ladies. And that just didn't feel good because it wasn't me. It wasn't what I wanted to be, you know. It wasn't the laid back, chill, you know, I don't care, do whatever guy that I am, you know, like I am in this, you know. And decided, you know, at some point I was like, you know what? This isn't paying the bills. It's making me miserable. So I'm just going to do what I want. And if it doesn't pay the bills, oh, well, I'll go get a real job or a regular job, not a real job, but a regular job. If people don't like it, they can just deal with it because, you know. And then when I sold the Johnny Fox vault of all that stuff that people really wanted to see, you know, thousands of people would come out to watch it every time. Only one person signed up for Patreon to get the vault. That's it. One or two people out of thousands. So how much did they really love the show? So I don't see a point going back to it because they're just seeing how little it, you know, sold after I was, you know, promoting the vault. I was just like, you know what? I'm just kind of done with this. You know what I mean? I'm just going to do what I want. And if people don't want to watch, they don't have to. And it's fine. Sometimes you got to draw that line, man, just to not go crazy. Mind's Eye. I can't remember what this is, but it's literally Minesweeper without the mines, because it just, you know, the screen just goes black or whatever if you hit a mine. So that's all that is. Let's go to Alien Attack. Can't remember if this is only 2-player or not. We'll see. So this is where we get into the crap, where guys running along the moon can run on top of the holes for some reason, and aliens just kind of show up and you hit them or you don't. So there's nothing to that. Billy Bob, the sequel to the Billy Bob from the NES, which the one from the NES was the Indiana Jones type of game, and this is just a gallery shooter with the same exact name for some reason I don't understand. But as you can see, there's no bullets, there's no gore, thankfully, and yeah, this is all it is. And you run out of bullets at some point and you just die. Sharks. Basically the same exact game from the NES version, but slightly prettier, if you can even call this that. And I mean, it still looks like NES graphics to me, but it's very graphics. We're going to get rid of that because you know how YouTube is about blood. Let's go to, even if it's pixelated blood, you know, Knockout. This is a 2-player only boxing game. Don't know why he just jumped right there, but you just do this. You just rock 'em, sock 'em robots and jump like you're on the moon. I'll show you the guy getting knocked out once though. The graphics aren't bad though for a Sega Genesis game. They really aren't. There goes the glitching up again. Let's see. Let's go to Intruder. This is another one of those run to the right stuff tries to hit you before you can react to it kind of games, but I'm guessing you're a mad scientist or maybe Dr. Octopus in a maze full of electronic wires and on some top of someone's motherboard fighting robots. I think I might have locked myself in that corner. Oh, you can go back. Good. At least there's that. I kind of wonder if level 2 is just this, or do you move on to a different part of the computer? And so it's just kind of a maze. Like, this stuff would be great as like an Atari game, but the problem was it came out on Sega Genesis. You know, the console that had Sonic. That was one of the biggest bad points of Action 52 was the fact that it was Atari level games on a, you know, top of the line console at the time. But this isn't bad. It's just kind of slow and dull, you know. But it plays. I'm sure that there's some people out there that have fond memories of Action 52. I mean, I did. Of at least Bonkers, the first game on this cartridge. I had good memories of that. And I even had good memories of Bubsy, God forbid. Oh, God, that game sucked. In retrospect, I used to think that game was called Bonkers. Then I played it again, and oh God, it sucked. And I played the newest one that came out for PC, and it sucked. All right, we're going to skip Echo entirely, because it's literally just Simon. You know, like the old little thing where like the thing would light up and you had to repeat what it was. And we're going to skip Freeway too, because Freeway is Frogger with a weenie dog that if you get hit, the weenie dog explodes and his entrails and everything are shown on the street. It's disgusting. It is horrific, and I hate the developers for even thinking about making that. I also would like to say screw you to the people that made the show, the movie called Wiener Dog, where it was basically an hour and a half quote unquote dark comedy about a weenie dog getting basically abused by owners and then eventually run over twice at the very end in very graphic detail. I was so angry when I heard that was a movie. I legitimately was thinking about going and strangling the director for real. Like seriously, I was that upset when I heard about it. I was mad. I was violently angry to the point where I legitimately was going to hunt down that director for even making that a thing. And that was the height of Bubba being sick too. That's my worst nightmare. Something happened to that little girl in there. I mean, it was worst nightmare with Bubba, but thank God that little girl doesn't run out the door. She'll sometimes follow me out and just, stay right next to me. Like she doesn't go out to the road at all. And she's real slow anyway. She doesn't run off or anything. She walks real slow. Cause she's an older baby. She about almost 9 years old now, so she's a lot more toned down and doesn't get into stuff, and she's a very chill dog. As long as her daddy's here and she gets her treats and her all that, she's happy. Like she doesn't cause no issues. Sometimes she gets a little whiny and dramatic if she wants to sit in my chair while I'm working, but I have to tell her, I'm like, Papa, you're not right now because, I love you, but you won't let me work. So that's all this game is, just a bunch of cats running across the screen and you have to get all the cheese. But she won't let me work. She'll just, knock the keyboard out of my hand or, demand that my left arm be around her. And I love her, but I can't make these videos if she's in here and she don't like it. But, I make a compromise that when I'm not working, she can be in here. So let's skip Mousetrap and go straight to Ninja. All right, this is a game that makes zero sense. Well, actually, it made more sense when the C button didn't work. So you're just a ninja that just runs, and you just run. And the ninjas that run into you don't hurt you. They don't even try to attack you. You just run. And that's the entire game. You just run, see? They don't even bother, I could just literally speed it up and we could get to the end of the thing and we just end up back on the title screen. That's the entire game. Like we didn't even lose once by hitting fast forward. So that game has nothing going on. Slalom. This one's just a downhill skiing game. It's fine. It'll be fine for like a Atari game or a Game Boy game, you know, something basic. But you basically just go downhill, just avoiding trees. There's really nothing to see there. Dauntless. This is where basically you're going to the right and shooting down other planes, and it's fine. It's another one of those that fall into the it's fine category. It plays fine. It moves around, you know, fine. There's nothing really to it though to show off. Force One. This one is basically Galaga, but bad. Well, it's not even bad. It's just, well, there's not much that shows up to threaten you, but I'll say this is okay. You know, that's the thing. Action 52 is for Sega Genesis is kind of fine. Is that a power up or is that a? No, it killed me. Spidey. It's the exact same thing as Mousetrap with the mouse collecting cheese, but this time it's a red widow that's picking up flies that's already in his web, and there's nothing else to it. But it's fine. Appleseed. It's just a dude catching apples, and that's it. There's no score. There's no reason to play it except for he gets mad when you catch a whatever fell out of the tree right there. Skater. This is your Skate or Die kind of rip off, or there was another NES game that's kind of like this. It was what's it called? TNC Surf or something like that. I forgot what it was. Where it was basically you just skated down the street and avoided obstacles. Like beach balls, stop signs, whatever that is, like boom boxes, dead cats. As AVGN pointed out, I don't know if they're dead, but cats are weird. They like to lay down on very odd surfaces. So not a bad game, just kind of there, you know. Also, you jump like you're on the moon for some reason, and also I thought he was doing rollerblades, but no, he's on a skateboard. Okay. And he just kind of just goes back and forth. At least the you know what, I'll admit it, I think the background's kind of nice. You know, like the really slow waving, coming in waves and stuff like that you could surf on. That's kind of nice. The soundtrack is complete, horrible, just absolutely god awful with just like Genesis stinging noises. But if you mute it, it's kind of peaceful. You know, I could see like putting some relaxing music behind this and, you know, watching a loop of this for like an hour, you know, just watching a dude skate along the 18, you know, the 16-bit sort of beach course, you know. It's pretty cool. I like it. Not the greatest thing ever, but it's pretty decent. God, that soundtrack. What on earth is that? Oh, God. It is disgusting. I'm going to mute my PC. But how long is this level? Does it just keep going until the very end? It's kind of weird. Why does he jump like he's on the moon, though? Hey, there's a girl waving at us. Hey, girl. Pretty little thing on the beach. There's another one. Hey, girl. I like them blondes. I like women, period. I don't have, well, there's three of them. Hey. One of them has to be the one that's like, she's not interested. You know, they always have the one that does that. It's usually the unattractive one they bring along. Oh, she's not interested. Like, you have to speak for her, you know. I don't go to bars at all anymore, and if I was trying to find a woman, I wouldn't go to a bar anyway. I've never seen a bar work out for people, and I used to be at a bar almost every night of the week, and I'll go to different bars. I swear to you, I never saw anyone hook up with anybody at a bar. At any of the bars. It was in a college town. Like, I never saw it happen. I never saw a guy approach a woman and them, like, you know, hit it off or anything at a bar. Never. it was almost always like older folks that were just, getting off work, maybe some college kids, you know, and there was one bar in the college that was like, close to the college where all the kids would go, and it was so loud and it was so jam packed that you legit could not hear yourself. You could not. The bartender can't hear you, well, like at all. Like seriously, it was so loud that like it was so packed that it was like everybody was in there like packed like sardines. Like there was nowhere to sit down. It was just people just jam packed in there, and nobody could even hear each other. You could literally yell your head off in someone's ear, and they couldn't hear you. It was that freaking loud. And like, yeah, there's no way anybody was hooking up there. I think those college kids probably hook up from their own parties or from, knowing a person in class or something. That bar definitely was not it. And it was a terrible bar. And just like, overpriced and everything. If you could get a drink, good luck with that, And if you did get one, it'd probably be spilled by someone not bumping into you because you're packed like sardines, I think this one's just an endless scroller. It never ends. Never was a fan of that one. Never went to that one much after that first or second time. Mousetrap, Ninja, no. Slalom, Fighting, already done all those. Skater, Sunday Drive. So this one is pretty boring as well. It's just basically a Sunday drive, like two old folks in a car just dodging other cars. His grandpa speeding down the highway. Man, it's really nothing to it, but I'll show it to you real quick. I love how it's no title screen. It just goes straight to level 1. And this is the entire game. Grandpa's headbanging to some Judas Priest, I guess. And, grandma's just shrugging her shoulders and being like, that's how Joe is. He's just loving his Black Sabbath, Rip Ozzy. That was crazy. Put on this huge performance, saying, Mama, I'm coming home, and then he died. That song, since he died, hearing that song again, that does make me so sad. The Mama, I'm coming home song, because he really is now. He's home. Anyway, Star Evil. Pretty much the same exact game as the one for the NES, minus the instant death at the very beginning of the level. But yeah, don't expect anything with that. Air Command. All right, this is weird. It's like we're going from the top down. Like, I know that it's called a top down vertical shooter, but this is literally from the top down. Like, you're usually the other way, bottom up, not top down for top down shooters. There's no real moves or anything. You just kind of roll along and hopefully you don't blow up. All right, Shootout. What is that? That's just Billy Bob, but you're shooting at frogs, penguins, crows, and you have like no control. You just basically just mash the A button for no reason. Like there's literally no control here at all. Like, your bullets just kind of go wherever they want. Bombs away. What is this? A guy that's running in Vietnam away from a bunch of bombs that are dropping. And of course he jumps like as high as the moon. Like, does a moon jump, of course. And can jump over an entire building for some reason. That's exactly what I was expecting. Something like this. That music is complete chaos, but the game just does the same thing over and over till you go back to the title screen, so we're not going to bother with that. Speedboat. Let me guess. Another top-down sort of thing. Can you shoot? No. You just fly along the screen and just dodge rocks and logs. That's it. Next. Dead Ant. I have a feeling this is going to just be the cheese game and the spider game. No. So this is a shooter where stuff eventually shows up. So I'm a big fat black ant and I'm shooting at black widows and other stuff. Well, apparently my bullets do not affect black widows, and I'm being surrounded by a bunch of them, which I didn't know black widows ate ants, but maybe they probably do. Butters do eat bugs. Well, that ant's dead, so we're going to move on. G-Fighter. What do we got? Space shooter just going side to side. At least the ship looks like, well, the ship kind of looks like a DeLorean with some wings attached to the back. There's really nothing to it, so it's the same thing as a lot of the others. Man at Arms. So this is a tower defense, I guess, where a guy is running back and forth trying to make sure people can't get into the castle. Now this is more like it. This is something I could see in a cool Flash game. Kind of reminds me of The Last Stand, I believe it's called, or The Last Night or something. It was a Flash game that I'm sure you've seen where it was basically a zombie apocalypse game where the entire point was defending your base, and between nights you had to, like, you know, search for survivors or gather weapons and all that stuff and try to basically every night would get harder and harder with more zombies, and basically you would try to survive as long as possible until, you know, you got an ending. So reminds me of that. That's not bad. I could get into this. Plays well, feels fine. You know, graphics are pretty okay. You know, probably more NES level than Sega, but, you know, decent animation. I like it. It's basic, but I like it. This is a good kind of zone out game. Move on. But I do like it. It's called Man at Arms. It's number 40 if you ever want to play that. Norman. I'm pretty sure there's a tank gang, and it is. Where you are on a single screen and a bunch of other tanks come at you. Or not. And there's Saddam Hussein again, I guess. And he's gone, so I'm the hero of Kvatch. And for some reason, bumping into a person kills your tank, so yeah, that's the thing. Armor Battle. This looks like it's only a two-player game, but take the game we just played, have Ed where the two players have to fight each other. It takes like 1 billion hits to actually kill the other tank. But pointless beyond 2-player. Magic Bean. It's gonna be Jack and the Beanstalk, ain't it? So a guy is climbing an endless beanstalk while a giant is apparently throwing down horseshoes. Other stuff that's not actually anywhere near me, so shoes and cups and swords and horseshoes and more cups and bottles of liquor, I guess. This Andre the Giant's beanstalk. Rest in peace to Andre. You legend. Even if the Iron Sheik don't like you, well, Iron Sheik's gone too. So he's probably getting, you know, beat up in heaven right now with, you know, Hogan. Rest in peace as well, brother. God, that really caught me though. When Hogan died, just good Lord. I heard that and I immediately just could not believe it. I still don't believe it. But it looks like we're just going to play the same thing over and over with that with no real difference. All right, let's move on to Apache, which has to be a helicopter game. And you die instantly by hitting a rock? What? okay. Just another vertical top-down shooter with no score for some reason, and apparently he flies so low that if you hit a rock, it kills you. Not bad. It's not a bad game overall. It's just generic. It's fine. Paratrooper. I think this might be a 2-player. No? So it's a guy that's like kind of I don't, nah, we ain't going that far yet. Don't know what that is, but Sky Avenger. That sounds cool. Let's see what this is. Probably just a top-down shooter. Well, you're a helicopter that's trying to fight Jetsons planes for some reason, like the Jetsons, flying car thing in Vietnam. But the same exact background and stuff as the Bombs Away game, so nothing to really see there. Sharpshooter. Same thing as the others, just, I guess a cowboy just going and playing, what was it called? Centipede or whatever? It's still Centipede ripoff. Meteor. Missile command without the command. Remember what I said about flaming rubbers earlier? It's the same game. It's the exact same game. It even has the same graphics. Just slightly better looking, like buildings at the bottom, but it even has like the Saturn being the same size as Earth. For some reason we're not on Earth. Just, I don't get it. So apparently we're on an alien planet and we have flaming rubbers trying to come down and burn us up. Black Hole. Another shooter where it kind of moves around in a weird pattern and you just kind of let's go and give someone motion sickness. Skip. The Boss. An alligator in a suit walking up and down ladders collecting money while avoiding a big alligator that's trying to and a battle toad with a machine gun, I think, trying to, I guess, steal the money. I mean, okay. Control's pretty bad, honestly. Here we are at the final first game, which is Pong. The first video game. And it's technically not the first video game, but guess what? 2-player only. So pointless. Challenge. This is going to give us the most difficult level of every game. If you could just look at this mayhem on the screen right here. This is just friggin' mayhem. I don't know if they let you play every game like this, but you could literally just, if it does, you could just play Action 52 like this. I mean, look at this monster, this mayhem right here. I'm literally putting it on fast forward to see if we can get to another game's hardest level, but I think it might just pick the game at random. So let's actually put a save state right here and see if they'll give us random. Okay. So now we got to do Echo, which is Simon Says. Yeah, no one's going to be able to do that. Next, Sky Avenger level 9. Pure Chaos once again. Next, not playing that because that's that one with the weenie dog and we don't want to see him get killed. Haunted, nice. I wanted to see what the end of Haunted Hill was like. Because level 4 is the end of this one. So it's not the same level over and over. That's good to know. That's neat. I'll give it that. Let's play around with that a little bit more. Just a little bit more. So it's not predetermined. Like literally, you start at this screen, you get hit A, and it could be any of them. It picks randomly after the screen. Bombs away at level 9. How bad is this going to be? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at that. This is, oh my God. They're dropping straight up Chevrolet engines out of the freaking sky on me. So this one was just... That one actually has a decent little tune to it. It sounds kind of like Deep Purple Lazy. Like dan 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 dan. So that just becomes impossible after a while. All right, next. All right, Mousetrap level 9. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I beat it. Do I get an ending? Mousetrap complete. Congratulations. And then it goes to bonkers. Holy crap. Look at this mess. And the game locked up. That's only... I'm not playing Freeway. I do not want to see a weenie dog get freaking slaughtered by a car. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is way too fast. Way, way, way too fast. Okay. That's wild. Sidewinder. This is actually kind of more entertaining than the rest of the game, just seeing what their final levels are like. Seeing how outrageously hard they get later. I've already done Haunted Hill. Alien Attack level 9. Okay, we're done with that. Meteor level 9. Good God. Just good God. It's just rubbers falling from the sky just endlessly. Just there's so many of them. Coming straight out of Cornhub Central. If they even wear them. Not gonna lie, this is kind of fun though. Having this much craziness go on and having to dodge it and just hold down the fire button and just, you know, this is kind of fun. I'll actually admit that I'm having a little bit of fun with the Action 52. Level 915 puzzle. It's the same thing as all of them. There's no reason for it to be another. Sunday Drive level 9. Let's see what Grandpa's dealing with now. Apparently LA traffic because everybody's all over the road. Mind's Eye level 9. Well, that's Minesweeper, all right. All they give you is a game complete anyway. Oh, so they actually get... Whoa, whoa. Quick. I am Ninja Master. You cannot defeat the master. Look, I did enough wax on, wax off that I'm going to get through this. I'm going to make you proud, Mr. Miyagi. And that just failed. Sorry, Miyagi. Oh God. Is there anything really left to do at this point? Let's try a couple more. Just because why not? Starball level 9. So this is the pinball thing where the ball for some reason goes like through the paddles. See what I mean? It goes through the paddle. Back to the ninja thing for a bit. Even though we know it's just going to say game complete, congratulations, and that's it. So, all right, well, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you fell asleep, good night. If you stayed up with me, thank you. Consider becoming a member or leaving a super thanks, because I've basically turned off most of the ads, and it would really help the channel if you did. So thank you. See you next time.